After standing face-to-face with four of the brightest and toughest names to ever step into a boxing ring, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Shane Mosley, and Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya cemented his place as one of the greatest fighters of his generation, and a legend never to be forgotten. Hoya wasn't just a talented boxer, but rather a perfect blend of technique, elegance, and explosive power. He had a unique ability to turn the toughest moments into opportunities, making the ring a stage for refined fighting performances, combining smart execution, sharp punches, and graceful movement. From the chess match of minds and tactics against Floyd Mayweather, to the brutal war he waged against Manny Pacquiao, the physical and psychological struggle in his fiery bout with Shane Mosley, to the merciless battle with Bernard Hopkins, each of these encounters was a complete story, filled with drama and valuable combat lessons that shaped De La Hoya as a fighter and as a man. As time passed, and through the pages of history that immortalize the greatest boxing fights, one question continues to echo among analysts and fans. Who was the toughest opponent Oscar De La Hoya ever faced in his career? A question that may seem simple at first glance, but in truth requires diving into seas of pain, dignity, and deadly challenges that only those who've tasted the pinnacle of the ring truly understand. In this video, we'll rewind the tape of memories, sail through the fiercest moments of Oscar De La Hoya's career, analyze each fight, and discover how the Golden Boy handled each opponent individually, until we reach the moment of truth. Who is the fighter about whom Oscar De La Hoya said, "I've never felt this kind of danger inside the ring"? Follow us in this thrilling breakdown, and don't forget to support us by subscribing to the channel. The best is yet to come. His bout against Mosley, the famous showdown between Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya, began on June 7, 2000, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, at a moment when all eyes were on this explosive event. Oscar De La Hoya was then at the height of his glory, a fan favorite and a world champion in multiple weight classes. In contrast, Shane Mosley entered the challenge hungry for success. From the very first moments of the bout, Mosley imposed a fast-paced rhythm, moving around the ring with agility and dynamism, using quick, varied punches, especially straight lefts and body shots, in an attempt to confuse De La Hoya and prevent him from establishing his style. Mosley was aggressive but calculated, attacking from unconventional angles and dodging counters with impressive precision. On the other hand, De La Hoya appeared surprised by Mosley's speed and unpredictable movement. Despite his attempts to gain control by using his left jab and longer reach, Mosley had the upper hand in initiative and speed, piercing through Oscar's defense with targeted punches that disrupted his tactical balance. As the rounds went on, Mosley's control gradually increased, particularly in the second half of the fight, where De La Hoya began to lose momentum, while Mosley maintained his high pace and excellent conditioning. At the end of the final round, the judges announced Shane Mosley as the winner by unanimous decision. 3 years passed since that bout, and much changed in the lives and careers of both fighters. On May 3, 2003, the two met again at the iconic MGM Grand in Las Vegas, in a long-awaited rematch from Oscar De La Hoya's side. The bout started at a slower pace than the first, with calculated exchanges and circular movement along the edges of the ring. As the rounds progressed, De La Hoya began to find his rhythm, using front punches to the body and head to gradually break down Mosley's defense. In contrast, Mosley wasn't as dominant as before, facing a more disciplined opponent with better control of distance, forcing him to shift his usual style and engage in close-range combat, though with less effectiveness. The fight peaked in the 9th round, when De La Hoya launched a strong, intense assault that rattled Mosley and clearly dominated that round. His punches were more accurate, and his movements more decisive, as if Oscar was channeling all his past experiences into a single moment. Through the final rounds, he continued with this smart approach, avoiding the trap of rushing while keeping up the pressure. At the end of the 12th round, everyone awaited the judge's decision with cautious anticipation. And indeed, the result once again went in favor of Shane Mosley by unanimous decision, a verdict that shocked many and is still remembered to this day as a robbery. His bout against Bernard Hopkins on the night of September 11, 2004, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, two pillars of modern boxing faced off in a match described as a test of legacy and pride. Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, world champion in 6 different weight classes, and Bernard Hopkins, the Executioner, the undisputed middleweight champion. The first round began with evident caution from both fighters. De La Hoya tried to impose his style, relying relying on lateral movement and fast punches, while Hopkins read his opponent's rhythm, slowly closing in, testing the distance, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It was a bout more akin to a chess game, with every move calculated and every punch deliberate. He focused on De La Hoya's body, landing precise shots to the ribs and kidneys, trying to gradually wear down the Golden Boy. In contrast, De La Hoya showed great agility and attempted to capitalize on his speed with sudden attacks. But he was facing a master at shortening distance and breaking rhythm. By the 8th round, fatigue was visible on De La Hoya's face. Despite his resilience and accurate combinations, Hopkins' physical and tactical pressure was mounting. Then, in the 9th round, came the decisive moment. Hopkins, who had been targeting the body throughout the fight, unleashed a powerful right hook to De La Hoya's body, landing squarely on the liver. It wasn't a flashy punch. It was technical, precise, and devastating. De La Hoya collapsed to the canvas and remained down until the count of 10. The fight ended with a knockout victory for Hopkins in the 9th round. His bout against Floyd Mayweather on the evening of May 5, 2007, at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, boxing fans around the world gathered to witness one of the most anticipated showdowns in the sport's history. From the first round, the excitement was clear. De La Hoya tried to impose his offensive style, utilizing his left hand heavily, cornering his opponent, pressing with size and strength. His body punches were sharp, and he aimed to use them to break Floyd's rhythm. The crowd responded to every offensive attempt from Oscar, especially when he managed to push Floyd to the ropes. But Floyd was no easy opponent. He moved with astonishing agility, dodging, slipping, absorbing pressure, then countering with sharp attacks that revealed incredible accuracy. His movements were like a dance, stepping back, sliding sideways, striking with deadly calm. As each round passed, his technical finesse took over, and he began controlling distance and rhythm, landing quick, precise punches, particularly from his right hand, which repeatedly broke through Oscar's defense. In the middle rounds, Oscar still held his own in the fight. His effort, willpower, and enthusiasm had him fighting fiercely. The 6th round, in particular, was one of his most effective, where he seemed to break through Floyd's defense and forced him to retreat. But Mayweather, as usual, adapted quickly and regained control as time went on. Entering the final rounds, fatigue began creeping into De La Hoya. His attacks lost intensity and his pace slowed. In contrast, Floyd increased his speed and began landing punches with stunning precision, exploiting every gap and opportunity. He saw the punches before they came, moved before he was hit, then responded with unpredictable counters. He dominated the range and imposed a rhythm that didn't suit his opponent. By the end of the 12th round, the fight had become a lesson in defensive and tactical offensive boxing from Floyd. Yet, there were no knockdowns, no knockout, just fierce combat until the final bell. The fight ended in a split decision victory for Mayweather. His bout against Manny Pacquiao on December 6, 2008, under the lights of the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, time seemed to stand still in anticipation as two boxing legends collided. The Golden Boy, with a glorious history and multiple titles across weight divisions, versus Manny Pacquiao, the Filipino typhoon rising like a rocket. As the first round began, Manny didn't wait long. He started firing his strong left punches from a low angle, relying on his blazing speed, overcoming the height and reach advantage in De La Hoya's favor. Round after round, the picture became clearer. Pacquiao didn't come to survive, he came to dominate. He moved like a storm, striking from unexpected angles, then vanishing quickly from retaliation range. Every time Oscar tried to use his left jab, he was forced to retreat under Pacquiao's lightning strikes that kept landing on his face and body without pause. It was as if Manny's speed had tripled compared to anything De La Hoya had ever faced. By the 5th round, Oscar's body began to show signs. His face was swelling, his eyes reddened, and his breathing grew heavier. He tried to respond, to push back, to use his vast experience, but he looked slow, as if his feet weren't moving the way they used to. Pacquiao, on the other hand, never let up. He increased the intensity of his attacks, especially in the 7th round, which turned into a one-sided display of artistic violence as he cornered Oscar and bombarded him with a flurry of precise and painful punches until the Golden Boy seemed unable to raise his hands in defense. In the 8th round, it was all but over. De La Hoya wasn't knocked out, but he fell apart before everyone's eyes. The body couldn't keep up with the mind. Speed was gone, and power lost in the low weight and accumulated fatigue. At the end of the round, Oscar returned to his corner in silence and never left it again. His team ended the bout, raising the white flag before Pacquiao's storm, and the referee declared a technical knockout victory for the Filipino after the 8th round. After all these major fights, Oscar De La Hoya fought throughout his legendary career against some of the greatest boxers of the modern era. One question kept being asked in interviews who was the strongest opponent you ever faced. Oscar, who faced power punchers and a wide range of styles in the ring, didn't hesitate to answer, saying bluntly, "Manny Pacquiao is the toughest, fastest, and most dangerous fighter I've ever stepped into the ring with." This wasn't a generic or exaggerated statement, but came from a man who had experienced every type of fighter and stood toe-to-toe with the most lethal among them. De La Hoya explained that Pacquiao wasn't just fast or strong, but a complete offensive machine that was nearly impossible to stop. He said, "I faced fighters who were heavier and hit harder, but I never felt this kind of relentless pressure. He didn't give me a second to breathe or regain my balance." He continued, "His punches came from every angle, and his movement never stopped. It was like an endless chase, and every time I tried to respond, he had already disappeared and appeared from another direction." De La Hoya never diminished his other opponents. He always expressed deep respect for Floyd Mayweather and his masterful defense, and for Bernard Hopkins for his toughness and tactics. But he emphasized that Pacquiao alone made him feel like he had no answers inside the ring, a rare experience for a champion of De La Hoya's caliber. With this statement, the Golden Boy confirmed that the greatest test he faced wasn't against a taller or heavier opponent, but against a fighter coming from a lighter division, but carrying the force of a hurricane and the speed of lightning, Manny Pacquiao.